everyone, welcome back to Biophilia, your all-time study mate. Today we are going to continue this chapter with the morphology of stem. If you like this video and get some knowledge or help, then don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our amazing channel Biophilia. So continuing with the chapter with a new topic in this video about stem. So previous video के regarding हमने पढ़ा था root. The root was the descending part of the plant. So यहाँ पे जब हम stem की बात कर रहे हैं, stem is going to be the ascending part of the plant, which is going to have leaves, that is पत्ते हैं. There are going to be flowers as well as fruits that the stem is going to have. Now, with the regard of the previous video, root was going to be developed from the radicle. So radical जो developing या जो germinating seed में था, similarly the stem is going to come from the plumule. So plumule से बनेगा stem और radicle से बनेगा root. So now this is going to be remembered because you have tried to recall it from the previous known knowledge and then compare it to the present that you are learning. So आपने अभी का भी याद कर लिया as well as you have revised it the previous topic. So I hope it helps you by this way every time that I try to connect the previous topic as well as give you new knowledge about the present. So the stems at the young age, यानी जब नया नया पौधा germinating seed से slowly it has been becoming a plantlet, छोटा है, it is young, it is going to be green, and later on when it is going to become a huge massive tree, तो उस टाइम पे वो छोटा सा young green stem काम नहीं करेगा. Later on it is going to become woody and dark brown in color. So likewise you can also see those differences in the stem as you go into the nature. So the stem is going to be differentiated into nodes and internodes. So जैसे previous video से हमने पढ़ा था कि roots में there are no nodes or internodes. So nodes या internodes का presence जो होगा it is exclusively only for stem. So exclusively in stem, that means if you find nodes or internodes, you are going to call it a stem. So ये जो differentiating point है, it is going to very well help you to understand that potato is a underground stem. So potato जो है, you might know that potato is an underground stem, but why do you call it an underground stem and not a root? Because the potato is going to have nodes and internodes. So nodes or internodes के presence होने की वजह से you call it a stem and not a root. So carrot भी underground है. So why don't you call carrot as a underground stem? Because carrot में nodes और internodes नहीं होते हैं. So you call it a root rather than a stem. So I hope you understood the reason behind why you call potato as an underground stem with the scientific terms, that is presence of nodes and internodes, signifying that it is a stem. So now what are nodes and internodes? So node is going to be the region wherein there are going to be leaves present. So regular intervals पे जब leaves होते हैं, that place where the leaf is going to originate or leaf is going to be present is called as a node. So if you can see, you can go and try to see a potted plant, or you can go in nature in the gardens and you can see the plants or the branches. So whenever you see that the leaf is coming out, वहाँ पे leaf के पास में you are going to find the node. And between the two positions of the leaf, the part between the two leaves, the part between the stem or between the two nodes is called as internode. So internode is between the two leaves. So that way you can understand what is a node and what is a internode. Now the stem is going to have a bud, and what is a bud? Bud is going to be called as young, immature, underdeveloped compact shoot. अब bud क्या होता है? Bud आगे जाके क्या करेगा? Bud is going to have two different types. So first type is going to be called as a terminal bud. Second होता है axillary bud. So terminal bud is also called as a apical bud. So generally if you try to understand that you are going to have plants like these, और उसका जो top part होता है, that is apical part, that apical part is called as, or the end part, so it is the end of the stem, that is why it is called as a terminal bud. So it is going to be present at the tip of the stem and it is going to signify the growth of the stem. So जब ये terminal bud आगे जाके grow होगा, it is going to continue to help in maturation of the stem. So here also you can see how the terminal bud actually looks like. So this over here is going to be the bud which will further form into new leaves. So फिलहाल के लिए तो this is the terminal end of the stem. But as soon as these leaves are going to grow, there is a possibility that further this particular stem is going to grow in length. So that is the reason you call it the terminal bud or also as the apical bud. Second type होता है that is axillary bud, which is going to be present at the axile. Now since it is present at the axile, it is called as axillary bud. But axile क्या होता है? Axile is going to be the angle between the leaves and the upper part of the stem. So very important, it is going to be the upper part and not the lower. So upper part और जो leaf है उसके बीच का जो angle होगा, that is going to give you the axile. So for example, if you have this particular stem and this is your leaf, so ये leaf हो गया and the region between the leaf and the stem, so this blue colored area is going to be your axile or the angle between the leaves and the upper part of the stem. So the place wherein the axile यानी axile के पास में जो bud होगा, it is called as axillary bud. So here in the photograph also you can try to understand how the particular axillary buds are going to be found in nature. So terminal buds और axillary buds का location nature में पता करना is very important. So you can go out, check into your potted plants or different types of gardens. You can go and try to find out the differences yourself between the terminal and the axillary bud. Now what are the main functions of stems? जैसे हमने root के भी main functions पढ़े थे. Similarly here also we are going to understand about the functions of stem. So जैसे root में हमने पता किया कि roots ने सारा पानी और minerals absorb करके soil में से ले लिया है. Now what is going to happen next? There is going to be need to transport this particular collected or absorb water and minerals. So whatever is going to be absorbed from the root, it needs to go to various parts of the plant. So it needs to go from the roots to the leaves to the fruits, and that is going to be called as conduction of water and mineral salts. So that is one of the function of the stem. Second है to bear and support the leaves, the flowers and the fruits. अब जहाँ पे conduct कर रहे हैं, it needs to bear and support. अब पानी वहाँ पे भेजना है, so it should also try to support those. So that is the second function of the stem. And the third one is going to be the food manufactured in the leaves needs to go into the So one way, if you try to understand that this is going to be the stem और यहाँ पे नीचे roots आ गए, say you are going to have fibrous root system and then you are going to have leaves. So this is not the way that actually it occurs, but let us try to assume it. So roots may say the water is going to go upwards to the leaves so that they can prepare food, and once the food is prepared, the energy needs to come down as well. So वो जो food energy बन के आएगा, it needs to go and settle down into the roots so that even roots can have energy so that the next time they can absorb water and minerals. So both the ways, it might be giving the nutrition to the leaves, the fruits and the flowers, and even once the food is manufactured, to provide it to the particular roots. So the stem is going to have the movement that is bidirectional, यानी वो ऊपर लीव्स एंड फ्रूट्स के पास भी ले जाएगा, and it will act as a support structure to send it towards the bottom part of the plant, that is the roots. So it is a very easy method to understand how the stems are going to help in conduction. So बचपन में आपने ये experiment ज़रूर किया होगा, that take a white rose or white flower and try to dip it in various colors. So the various colors are going to get spreaded all over the petals of the flower, giving the different colors of the water. So this experiment is also going to show you that how the particular stem is going to help to transport various substances to the parts of the plant. So that was a little thing extra that I could tell you to practically understand the function. Then what are the modifications of the stem? Nature में हर चीज सेम हो जरूरी नहीं है. There are going to be various different examples that you can have if you try to go and search out. So modifications of the stem that you can see are going to be these particular. So first of all, you can have an underground stem. As I told you, underground stem you can identify with the presence of nodes and internodes. So nodes and internodes hai, then that means you are going to call it as an underground stem. So you can have variations in it, like you can have rhizomes, tuber, corm or bulb. The second type you can have is called as stem tendrils. Third is modification called as thorn. Fourth is aerial stem, and fifth one is going to be called as a subaerial weak stem, which has further divisions like offsets, suckers, runners and stolons. So ये तो था बस एक list wherein you can sum up all the modifications that you need to study. So now let's us understand these one by one in detail. So first of all, moving ahead to understand about underground stem. Underground stem में first modification हो सकता है, that is rhizome. So rhizome is a modification wherein the stem is going to grow parallel or horizontal to the soil surface. So generally अगर आपने stem को देखा है, if this is going to be your soil surface, the stem generally is going to rise upwards. This is your general case, right? But generally whatever happens in the case of rhizome is not going to be the same. Rhizome के case में the stem is going to start to grow horizontally or parallel to the soil surface. So this is the type that happens in rhizome. So if you can see up here in the photograph, that is going to show you the part over here, that is ginger. So ginger जो होता है, it is a rhizome that is going to grow parallel to the soil surface. It also is called as stem because it has nodes, it has internodes, buds as well as scaly leaves. So जो stem के पास होना चाहिए वो सब है उसके पास, but only the way it grows is different and even the location. So it is called as a rhizome. So ऐसे टाइप का stem कहाँ पे कौन से examples में मिल सकता है? You can have them in ginger, banana, turmeric as well as ferns. So that was the first, called as rhizome. Second is a tuber. So tuber is going to be a terminal portion of underground stem. Terminal portion because once the stem is underground, the last part is going to turn into a massive giant portion which is going to get swollen and it is going to accumulate food. So वो swollen part में क्या है, वो swollen क्यों है? Because it has food in it. So underground hai, there is going to be the terminal part, and various types of tubers can be formed. They can vary in different shapes, they can be in different sizes, and some of the examples of tuber is going to be potato. And potato, as I told you previously also, how it is going to be called as an underground stem. So you can try to see about the nodes and the internodes. So potato को कोई ऐसे moist जगह पे रख दो, and even in sometimes in the cases of rainy seasons में if you keep the potato in your vegetable baskets, so हो सकता है that the potato starts to grow some white, or you can see some little types of buds coming out of the potato. So those are nothing but because of moisture content there are going to be growths of scaly leaves. So वो जो growth होगी that is going to be the significant reason that you can understand it is a stem. So that was a little thing that you can do on your own in your homes to understand and remember better that tuber का जो example होगा it can be a potato. Next is going to be a corm. So corm is going to generally grow vertically but beneath the soil surface, and it is going to be unbranched, bearing nodes, internodes, buds and scaly leaves, giving it the name as underground stem. So corm can be found in the case of colocasia, gladiolus and colchicum. So जैसे यहाँ पे एक photograph है that you can see is going to be of colocasia. So it is going to have nodes जहाँ से you can have different types of scaly leaves forming. Between the two nodes you are going to have internode. An entire structure is called as corm, the bigger area, and the smaller pieces over here which are going to be seen are the daughter corm, which are going to be, you can detach it and form a new corm as it grows. और यहाँ पे the root or hair like structures beneath you can see are going to be adventitious roots. So roots के वीडियो में हमने पढ़ा था what the adventitious roots are. So you can always go and try to revise or learn better about it if you don't know. So link will be provided in the description box so that you can go and revise or check out about the adventitious roots. Moving up with the next type of underground stem, that is bulb. So in the case of bulb, the stem is going to be very much reduced यानी उसकी size बहुत कम हो जाएगी. You will not be easily understanding कि वो एक underground stem है because it is reduced in size as well as a disc shaped. So generally आप किसी stem को disc shape का believe नहीं करोगे, but in the case of bulb it is. So the bulb is going to have a bud, and the bud is going to be surrounded by many concentric scale leaves. Concentric का meaning क्या होता है? That there are going to be small circles which are going to have different radii but a common center. So common center होगा and there will be various radii present, that is concentric. So now these scales leaves are going to be present and the inner ones यानी जो अंदर के जो छोटे radii वाले होंगे, these are going to be fleshy and edible, whereas the outer layer ones are going to be dry. So these leaves can actually be eaten, and one of the classic examples of bulb that you can very well feel and observe is going to be an onion. So onion जो है it is a tunicate bulb, a simple tunicate bulb जो एक sheath से covered होता है. So जो बाहर के जो colored dry leaves that you take out, these are the leaves and the one you chop off. So जो नीचे से आप काट देते हो, that is going to be your stem, or you can say a reduced disc shaped bulb stem. So वो आप काट देते हो and the scaly leaves part you are going to eat. So that was the example of onion that you can always go and see visually at your kitchens. So the compound tunicate bulb can also be visualized. The example is going to be garlic. So garlic को अगर आपने देखा होगा, it is going to be somewhat different than onion but very much similar. So onion में भी जैसे बाहर के छिलके होते हैं वैसे garlic में, लहसुन में भी वैसे ही छिलके होते हैं. And once you remove those, in the case of onion you are going to directly get the entire bulk of leaves that you can eat. But in the case of garlic you are going to have separate small sections, and those are nothing but called as bulblets. So even the bulblets will be individually wrapped into white tunic. So that is the reason कि उसको एक individual covering भी है, and all those individuals packed together also has a separate covering. So जैसे chocolates में family pack आता है, that these are small chocolates packed into a single bag. So that packet is called as a compound tunicate bulb. जबकि आपने अगर एक complete 5 रुपए की डेयरी मिल्क खरीद ली, that is going to be nothing but a simple tunicate bulb having a single wrapper. So like that you can remember the simple and the compound tunicate bulb. The second type that can have in bulb is called as scaly or naked bulbs. यानी tunicate bulbs जो थे उनको एक packaging था, उनको एक covering था called as tunic. But if it doesn't have a tunic or it doesn't have a covering, it is called as scaly or naked bulbs. So वैसे जो example होगा, it is going to be in the case of lily. So lily होगा chocolates जिसको आप directly jar में से निकाल के खा लोगे, and these do not have any plastic coverings. So these are going to be the scaly or naked bulbs found in lily. The next is going to be the stem tendrils. So stem tendrils in some plants, the axillary buds हमने अभी पढ़ा था. Now you should remember what the axillary bulbs are going to be. So axillary bulbs are going to be present onto the stem, which are going to modify to form a tendril. So tendril को अगर आपको location पता करनी हो, so how you are going to see, suppose this is going to be your stem. Okay, stem के पास में से there is going to be a formation of leaf. अब leaf के formation के axial area में से there is going to be a formation of tendril. So that is going to be called as a stem tendril because it is originating from the stem. So that particular stem tendril is going to be a long, thin, thread-like spirally coiled sensitive structures. Now why these are sensitive? Because these are going to be helpful for climbing. यानी ऐसे stems पे ये stem tendrils मिलेंगे wherein the stem are very weak, these are very fragile and they cannot have their own strength to grow upright. So if you might have seen in previous lower classes as well, वहाँ पे आपको बताया जाता था that these are climbing root, climbing stems जो होते हैं, these, or you can say the climbers. So जो climbers होते हैं, there you can find these stem tendrils which are going to be used for support structures. So वो उनको support देंगे so that the stem that is weaker and tender can have the upright structure to grow. So वो sensitive होते हैं because once they find some support, they are going to coil around them. So once they coil around, how they can understand? Because these are going to be sensitive structures. So you can find these stem tendrils in climbers, like you can have in grapevines. So grapes के जो vineyards होंगे, you can visit them and try to find these stem tendrils. You can also find them in gourds, which include pumpkins, watermelons, as well as cucumbers. So these in photographs also you can try to understand how these particular stem tendrils are going to look in person. So that was about the stem tendrils seen in the majority called as climbers. Next is thorns. The thorns are going to come from the axillary buds. So axillary buds, say you can have the stem tendrils coming, or the stem tendrils अगर grow नहीं हो रहे हैं, then they can form thorns as well. So thorns are going to be that axillary buds, once they lose their ability to grow, यानी आगे जाके that is going to be the end of the stem. So end of that stem, that means these are going to grow into hard, woody and pointed structures. So वो जो आपको चुभ जाते हैं sometimes, those are nothing but the thorns because these are protective in nature. So generally you can see them in the case of citrus, यानी citrus है, यानी you can have them in lemon, you can have them in oranges, you can have them in sweet lime. So all these types of citrus plants you can have thorns, या फिर you can see them in bougainvillea as well. So bougainvillea के plants, maybe you can find these thorns. So here in the first photograph you can see about the thorns in citrus, and over here the red ones you can see, these are the thorns of bougainvillea. So bougainvillea के plants भी generally you can find them anywhere on the roadside, as well as you can plant them at your homes. So you can see those thorns of bougainvillea very easily, and you can also try to understand what is the difference between thorns and what is the difference between spines. So spines and thorns are different. So very important to remember that spines and thorns are different. यानी जो आप बोगनविला में देखोगे, that is different than the things that you see in cactus. So cactus जो होता है, cactus के ऊपर जो छोटे छोटे ऐसे बाहर निकलते हैं, these are spines. These are not thorns. These are going to be spines, and the thorns are the ones which are going to be the modifications of stem. So thorn जो होगा coming from the stem, spines are going to come from the leaves. So we will definitely cover about the modifications of leaf as well, but for now we are going to see about the thorn as modification of stem. The next one is the subaerial weak stem. So subaerial weak stem, maybe there are going to be different modifications. That is first as offsets. So offsets are nothing but these are going to contain lateral branches which are going to have short internodes. So यानी उनके जो पत्ते होंगे, उनके जो leaves होंगे, these are going to be collectively coming at very small regions. So छोटे छोटे interval में ही these are going to come and be formed. So these are going to have very short internodes, and the distance between the two nodes is going to decrease, and each node is going to have a rosette of leaves. So यानी अगर ये आपका stem है, the stem is going to have very small internodes, and even there is going to be rosettes. So many leaves are going to collectively come together to form a cluster, or you can say there is going to be a tuft of roots as well, which is going to be found at the bottom. So like this is going to be an offset which can be found in the examples of aquatic plants like Pistia and Eichhornia. So here also you can see in the diagram that how the particular offsets are going to look like, having short internodes. Very important to remember, these are going to have short internodes and a lateral branch. So uske side में से you are going to also have a lateral branch which is going to give rise to the other tuft of leaves, and you can see the roots coming out of it. So that is going to be the offsets. The second one is the suckers. So suckers are going to have lateral branches. So it is also a case of lateral branches coming from the basal and the underground portion of the stem, and it will grow below the surface of the soil. So जैसे offsets के जो branches थे, these are going to be seen above the ground, or generally these are found in water. So वो water surface के पास में मिलेंगे, but suckers are going to be seen in the soil. So inside the soil, these are also going to go into the soil, and they will come out of the soil obliquely, and then they will form a aerial shoot. So you can see up here in the diagram as well, this is going to be the main stem. Main stem में से a lateral branch came out, and from the lateral branch you can see that there is going to be oblique coming out, or it will emerge obliquely, and then it is going to form the aerial shoot, and that particular lateral branch is also going to have adventitious roots. So in that way, this particular lateral branch is called as a sucker, because ये जो branch है, it is going to have leaves, it is going to grow into different sizes, but उसका जो main nutrition होगा, वो main nutrition कहाँ से आ रहा है? It is going to come from the main stem. So in a way it is going to act like कि main stem का जो root structure होगा, वहीं से ये सारा nutrition लेगा, but it is going to have its own life as well. So in a way, from above or from the aerial view, you can see that this is a separate plant number 1, this is a separate plant number 2. But if you try to find, then if you pull this one, If you pull the plant number 2, then you can see that even plant 1 is getting pulled. And why? What is the reason? Because these are going to be interconnected towards the main stem or the main plant. So such type of arrangement you can see in the plants like banana, in pineapple, and even in chrysanthemum. So like these you have to remember the examples कि offsets कहाँ मिलेंगे, suckers कहाँ मिलेंगे, where you can find thorns. All this is a part of memory. So you have to remember these examples as well as the different types of modifications. So third example is going to come from runners. So runners are going to be elongated and frosted plants which are going to have long internodes. So remember, long internodes jo honge, it is found in runners, whereas if you remember just now we saw that if these are going to have short internodes. So short internodes किसमें थे? Short internodes were found in the case of where did you see? In the case of offsets. So offsets में short internodes थे. In runners you are going to have long internodes. So like these, when similar types of information or facts comes to you, you have to recall the previous one as well as try to remember the current information. So runners having long internodes are going to be seen in the case of grasses. So अगर आपने lawn होगी या lawn कहीं देखी होगी, then you can see that if you try to pull one grass, you are going to find some particular structure that is connected to the adjacent grass as well. So वो जो adjacent grass को connect करता है, that connection is nothing but going to be called as a runner. So you can go and try to find some lawn, and then lawn you can see these runners and you can understand how these are going to be present. So एक नोड यहाँ पे हो गया, this is your node number 1 जहाँ पे first grass उग रहा है, and the second node is going to be the place wherein you are going to find the second leafy area. So between these two is nothing but the internode area. So you can imagine how large or how long the internode area is going to be, that is found in runners. Fourth is going to be stolons, which is going to be a slender lateral branch arising from the base of the main axis. ये same information हमने see की थी in the case of the previous one as well. So it is also going to grow, it was growing obliquely. So suckers जो थे वो भी ऐसे lateral branches में grow कर रहे थे from the base of the stem, and they grow obliquely. So if you see the word that these are rising obliquely, then you can understand that these are speaking about the case of suckers. But if these are going to grow aerially for some time and then arch downwards, so अगर word arch आ रहा है, then it is about stolons. If you see about obliquely, then you can see that these are going to be speaking about the suckers. So like these you have to notice some particular keywords. So keyword क्या है यहाँ पे? Keyword is going to be your obliquely. So obliquely is for suckers. Stolons के लिए these are going to be arched downwards or grow aerially for some time. So all these little things that you need to remember, as well as to remember the examples of this description. So like these arch downwards and they grow aerially for some time, ये सब कहाँ मिलेगा? In the case of examples of jasmine and mint. So you have to see the diagrams as well, because questions में हो सकता है आपको diagram बता दिया जाए and you are asked about the example or the description. So in a way you have to remember the diagram, the differentiating characteristics of the modifications and their examples where you can find them. So keywords अगर याद है, you can easily remember the type and you can identify them as well. So that was about the subaerial weak stem. The next one that comes is the aerial stem. So aerial stem is going to be, aerial stem aerial होता है, air conditions में होता है, everyone knows. But what is different about in here is that some plants in the arid regions यानी जहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा moisture नहीं है, it is dry, And these type of areas may the modification of the stem or the modification of the aerial stem is going to be that these are going to go flattened, यानी वो flat हो जाएंगे. These can also become fleshy and cylindrical. So if they become flattened, you can see them in the case of opentia. If they become cylindrical and fleshy, then you can see them in the case of euphorbia. So these are the two examples that you can see over here. So first example about opentia, second example about euphorbia. So like these, the plants which modify, these are going to be called as phylloclad. What are these called? These are called as phylloclad. So phylloclad may the stems can become flattened, they can become fleshy and cylindrical, and these are going to remain green, and because of the green color they might look like these are leaves or these are modifications of leaves, but you are wrong. These are going to be nothing but the stems, which are now called as phylloclads, and they will also help in the photosynthesis process because these are going to have green pigments. So since these are green stems, they can have unlimited growth and also perform all the functions of stem, as well as they can have additional function. So additional function क्या है? The photosynthesis is going to be their additional function. So वो एक ऐसा you can say it is a bonus function that is going to be given to them, that because of the green pigment they can also perform the photosynthesis. So you can see the different types of stems like these. So generally cactus में ऐसे होते हैं because cactus are going to grow in such arid regions. So desert like conditions are nothing but called for as arid regions. So desert में जो cactus होते हैं, और you can see even in cartoons. So cartoons में ऐसे stems आपको नजर आएंगे which you might get confused that these are leaves, but now as I have told you, you can understand these are modifications of stem called as phylloclad. So to remember over here, the examples of phylloclad are going to be opentia as well as euphorbia. So here we come to the end of the theory part. Since I have told you, shared all the facts and information, अब यहाँ पे आपको टेस्ट करना है. Now you have to understand how much you have absorbed the knowledge about the stems. So regarding that, here are some questions, not sufficient to master, but seriously you can try them out to understand how much you have learned from the video. And if you stuck somewhere to understand the particular concept, you can rewind the video back and try to understand the concept once again. So likewise you can solve many more questions. आप अपने answers comment section में डाल सकते हो. You can also try to reach out to many more people by writing down or texting in the comment section about some good questions that you come across in different books, so that with you even others are benefited with your knowledge. So in wise we can build a community wherein questions and knowledge can be shared in various ways. So do let me know about these ideas about sharing different questions and ideas, information in the comments below. So till now we can just try to answer these questions and many more. So with this we come to the end of part 2 of this chapter about morphology of stem. अगर आपको अच्छा लगा, अगर आपको concept समझ आया, then don't forget to like, share and subscribe. We will come back soon with the next part of this chapter. Till then, keep studying, keep smiling. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Till then, bye bye. Thank you.